If someone has just clicked on this podcast, can you tell me the reason why they should stay around and listen and what you think they're going to get from this conversation?
I think we're living through the most incredible time in history. Never before have people had the opportunity to build something that is a global business, full of fun, freedom, and flexibility, full of passion and purpose. And today that is accessible to almost anyone who'd be listening to this podcast. The baby boomers, they got access to affordable housing. We get access to affordable global small businesses. Now, the entrepreneurial journey is scary to a lot of people, but if you conduct the right experiments, have the right mindset, follow the right process, it's really predictable and safe for people to get involved in entrepreneurship. And I think anyone who's listening to this is going to see that it's a lot more process-driven than they think, that we can go step by step to build a business that you absolutely love.
On the other end of this conversation, in an hour's time or 2 hours' time or whenever this podcast finishes, what are they going to have that they didn't have before this conversation?
We're going to talk about the entrepreneurial journey as a set of steps, predictable steps. And they're going to be able to have a map of how do you move through that entrepreneurial journey? Like, what do you do first? What do you do next? How do you go to the next level and scale up? And who do you contact? And it's based upon literally coming across thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs at each stage of the journey. So ideally, what I want people to walk away with is just that clarity around how this entrepreneur thing works. Over 20 years of entrepreneurship, I started my first company when I was 21 years old. I did 2 years working for a mentor from 19 to 21. We built a business from scratch to millions of revenue. I then left that mentor. I went out on my own, started my own first small business. It grew very rapidly. We went from 0 to $1 million in the first year and then 10 million in year 3. I started 7 businesses since that have gone 0 to $1 million in their first 12 months. I've done 3 businesses that went north of 10 million.
And what about this accelerator? I read that you have an accelerator where you have thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs who come to your accelerator for business advice coaching from getting from 0 to, up on that, up to their trajectory.
Yeah. So 12 years ago, I noticed this trend around this idea of global small businesses. And I basically saw that technology was making it possible for anyone to do the things that multinational corporations were doing. And I started an entrepreneur accelerator designed for people to position themselves as a key person of influence, to build their personal brand, to build a core team of people around them, to digitize the value that they offer, and to take the most or make the most of the times that we're living in. And since then, about 4,500 companies have gone through this whole process. We've seen people go from 0 to multi-million pound exits. We've seen people build the business of their dreams where they get to live and work from anywhere. And, we've also seen what people struggle with and what they've found difficult. We've gone through pandemics and global financial crises and all of this sort of stuff with our clients. It's dancing classes for entrepreneurs. It's a high-performance environment where you get to be around people who want the same sort of things that you want. You get to have some accountability, some best practices. You get a community or a network around you. And you go through that entrepreneurial journey with other people who are going through it as well.
Do you think anyone can be an entrepreneur?
I think entrepreneurial spirit is something that we're all born with. Entrepreneurship is this idea that we want to create value for others, that we want to take a little bit of a creative risk, that we want to do something that represents self-expression. There are different stages to the entrepreneurial journey, and everyone can go through those stages. There's also not one type of entrepreneur. There are people who are very good at finance. There are people who are good at operations. There are people who are visionaries. There are people who are doers and get the stuff done. And there are businesses that suit those types of people. So it's about finding out who you are, finding out what kind of business would actually be well suited to that person, and then making sure that you're doing the thing that you're well suited to. The thing is, we need to sharpen our ideas in the market, not in our minds. So what we have to do is go make contact with other people and see what they say and see what they think. So we have to conduct tests where we fail fast and fail cheap if we fail at all. So here's an example of what I like to do when someone has an idea. I say set up a very simple waiting list landing page and essentially let people know I'm thinking of starting something in this particular space, or we're launching something in this space later in the year. If you're interested, join the waiting list. Now, that waiting list concept, essentially, if people will join the waiting list, and if you get hundreds of people joining a waiting list, it's a pretty good indication that it is a good idea. If you launch a waiting list and you message 3,000 people and say, I'm launching this thing, do you want to join the waiting list? And no one joins, then it's a good indication that's not the idea, right? Because we have to have a good marriage between what we're passionate about, what we want to do, and what the market wants. There's 6 million businesses in the UK, 30 million businesses in the USA, and that basically means that there's a lot of businesses doing a lot of things that already exist. So the market might not have an unmet need. The market might say, hey, I already have a great cupcake supplier. There's already someone who makes great coffee in my neighborhood. We don't need another one. Okay, fair enough. Let's have another idea, right? You can always have plenty more ideas. So you got to test. The faster you can get on with conducting a fast and cheap test, the better you're going to, go with your entrepreneurial idea.